Welcome to the Citizens of the World podcast, the podcast where we explore the lives and stories of people from around the globe. I'm your host, Valerie, and today we're coming to you from the heart of Amsterdam in Cancanteen, just beneath our unique living space known as Domus living Houthavens. This community is home to residents from many different countries, all living under one roof and sharing their experiences, cultures, and perspectives. Today, we'll dive into what it means to live in such a diverse environment, the challenges and the rewards of moving between countries, and what lessons they've learned along the way. Let's meet our guests. Welcome to the Citizens of the World podcast.
Yes.
Rajeb, you are our first guest in the podcast. Like I said, we're making this podcast for the community Domus to be at, and we're here in the amazing Cancanteen. Can you tell something about yourself?
Yes, of course. Thank you for welcoming me. My name is Rajeb. I'm 35 years old, born and raised in Amsterdam. My mom is Surinamese. My dad is Filipino. So basically a great cocktail made in Amsterdam.
Okay, and how long have you been living now in Domus?
In Domus now almost 2 years. In November it will be 2 years. Mm-hmm. I came in 2022 and Domus opened in October 2022.
Okay.
Yes.
And were you actually the first, one of the first people that came in here?
No. I was like in the second row of people coming in. Like the building right above us right now came in first, and then the building where I live just came in second into Domus, and that was in November.
Okay.
Yes.
And besides that you're a resident, you're also the community manager. Can you tell something about your role as a community manager? What is it?
Yes, basically as community manager, I try to connect all the residents in having a nice stay, getting to know each other, just having like the best living experience in this building, and actually also a little bit in the area. Like when I started, we tried just to have like this basic interactions with everybody, and very soon, like we saw, like people just started to create bubbles and trying. We're connecting with each other, so they just could hang out together and just make this new area more easy to know.
Mm-hmm. And what brought you to Domus? What was the thing that you thought, I want to live in a building like this, like in a community? Mm-hmm. Why? And what brought you here?
Yes. So it all started like, this isn't my first building where I actually live as community builder.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the owner of Domus, CBRE, I lived in another building from them. It's called Rhapsody. I was part of the community project over there that was called the Kolenkitkas. It's a glass house to actually also like support community neighbors in the area. Just to give them a place to commit to. I was in 2020, a friend of mine connected me and told me like, we really want you here. Please join us. So I got the opportunity to start over there.
Yeah.
And in 2022, early that year, I already heard from CBRE that they really would like to have one of the members coming over to Domus.
Okay.
To actually start a new community project. And that's kind of how I rolled in and just, it was like a new challenge, an open challenge to create a community, and that was like amazing to me. And that was very fast and yes for me.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I'm also one of the residents, of course, and for me this was so new because I'm also Dutch. I have never experienced something like this, or something like living in a community, because normally that's not what we do.
We're very used to the tradition traditional way of living in an apartment building or any fancy neighborhood or whatever we normally live in, where it's just, hi, how are you doing? Good. Okay, see ya.
Yeah.
And just, it's
very isolated.
Yeah. Mostly isolated. And it's really extraordinary that there is a chance that you will talk to your neighbor. So living here and seeing how many neighbors just started connecting and hang out in our public spaces is just so amazing to me.
But what do you think that is the recipe for a good community? Because, with people, there also can come a lot of trouble or things or whatever. So what is the recipe?
The recipe, in my opinion, is that as a community manager, you should always start the fire. So you should also always give a lot of energy into this new group of people and showing what is possible. And by doing that, you also need, so now and then, just try to show what the chances are. Just keep talking to people and just try to reel them into feeling that there are chances and opportunities to create events or any kind of meeting of new people. And from the community manager part, it then is a must that you give space to people, that they can feel like, okay, I can start things up. It doesn't matter if I succeed or fail. It's just about, do I reach people or do I feel good what I'm doing? It's not something that's very, how do you say that? It's not, you can't fail in it. You can't fail in it. It's just try a lot of trial and error and learning from it.
Okay. And with a community like Domus, one of the most amazing things that I find really special about this place is that we have so many people from so many countries, cultures, origins, and it's so special how everybody come together in this place, working together, having a drink together, sharing their struggles in life. So that's really amazing. But how do you define that? All these people with all these cultures, how did it impacted your life?
My life, it was really interesting to me because, yes, I lived for my whole life in Amsterdam. But as a mixed racial man in Amsterdam, when I grew up, there were a lot of struggles with my mom, and I saw things happening to her which I just never placed in my head, always being mansplaining, men always trying to explain simple stuff to my mom, no, this is how you do it, this is how you cook your mashed potatoes, while my mom knows everything to do. My mom is the all-over pro in cooking, all those little things I never placed in my head came back to me with stories from the neighbors of Domus, that they are experience a lot of coldness from Dutch people.
Oh, really?
That they can be very rough, which doesn't always imply that they are mean, but I feel like Dutch people can be very professional and shift very easy to private life mode. So that they, in professional life mode, they can be like, oh yeah, we're good. We are very good friends in professional mode, and let's have a drink. But then, if it's the clock hits 9 o'clock, they snap and they're in private mode, and they just say, okay, bye, have a nice weekend. And
two different persons.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And that's something that I heard a lot from the neighbors, where they just thought oh, I'm building my network, I'm having friends in Amsterdam, and they're just oh, we're not friends actually.
Oh.
So
but that was also something that your parents experienced as well.
Especially my mom, I just said, my mom was also very social, very emotional. A good example is at school, where my teachers always are very nice to my mom, but when it became to professional or just doing their job or telling my mom like, okay, Rajeb isn't doing this and this well, my mom would be like, what the fuck are you telling me?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can swear, but I'm sorry. But they were like very confronting for her that it's not that's one person. It's just like you just said, like two personalities popping up.
Yeah.
And that was very tough for her. And that's really opened my eyes also. Like, okay, that's how I also can define some stuff happening in my life.
Yeah.
And maybe why I had struggles also with the average Dutch person in my life.
Yeah.
So, which also was like, okay, I need to be at home at 7, so we need to eat now. Okay.
You should go to too. Yeah. I know that.
Yeah, just wanted to ask you, have you ever experienced it like that?
Of course. My friends also had to leave when we were supposed to eat. Yeah, it was like, hey, it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
Yeah, no, of course. And by getting to know all these residents from all these different countries, were there also some new experiences you've learned along the way, or like maybe people told you things about their culture that was eye-opening to you?
It's not that it was something new, but it's more how I actually already live with my friends. Okay. The openness, like being open to like last minute hangouts, like just people just send you a WhatsApp in the WhatsApp group or on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Want to have a drink now, or want to go to the rooftop, or have a walk?
Yeah.
I wasn't used to that. I really wasn't used to it. I was very close to that. So like last year, it happened with one of the neighbors, and he just asked me like, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk?" I'm like, "What happened? Is there something bad going on?" Or are you feeling something? No. Let's just have a walk. It's nice weather. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that was something that I never was conscious about in my normal life, and that gave an accent over here. And after that first walk, we just did many walks and. Other neighbors asking like, I want to have a beer. Yeah, let's do it. Even for myself, like, want to play some board games. Yeah, I'm open. Yeah, and people are totally fine with it. That is like maybe 30 minutes beforehand. You know, like where in my normal day life I can never ask anybody in my friend
to just do something spontaneous.
Yes, exactly, and that's such. It took so much pressure for me in my social life because I totally felt like.
Oh, really? So you felt in the beginning? You felt pressure?
Yeah. Because it's to me it's like so many elements in your life. Like you have your work, you have your social life. You need to rest yourself. So I always felt like this social thingy from of my personal life was so small that and I just never. Was that good in scheduling stuff. So making it like very spontaneous and easygoing, it just feels so good. And not rough at all. And even if people say I can't do it or I have no time, I'm like
still fine.
Okay, it's last moment, so I understand.
Oh, that's such a nice new experience and also learning. But is this also something that you've learned along the way with the people here in Domus, that you changed something in your day-to-day life as well? In general? Or is it just here?
Here in the Netherlands?
Here in Domus, with the people here? Or are you also changing ways in different areas of your life because of these experiences?
Obviously, like what I just described, you know, like I also have to say, like, I have also like a bit of social anxiousness, you know, like I'm also like I was a little bit scared of being that people would decline my offers, you know, that I hated that. So having to experience in Domus how easy it actually is, I also try it out in my own network.
Okay.
And that's like most of the time like very reasonable communication with people. Like it doesn't happen a lot that people are like, oh yes, let's do something spontaneous, but I don't feel the anxiety anymore of like not willing to try.
And that's really something you've been learning by just living and talking to the expats.
For the past year, yes.
That's so nice. Okay. Yeah, like a lot of residents here moved from other countries to Domus. What have you been experiencing with the residents who came from other countries, where about struggles they faced? What have you experienced with them?
The most of the struggles that I heard of is actually like what we just discussed. You know, the roughness of the Dutch people,
And then
not
you're talking about the communication style only, or also other things?
It's communication, but also like being with each other. Like there are some subtle things we Dutchies say or do, which doesn't really is normal for many expats. For example, I'm gonna repeat myself. Like it's like just being able to be like, oh, let's have a drink, but then again, like 5 minutes, it's 9 o'clock, and they're like, okay, see you later, and just not being there for people, and just it's like, these are my work hours, these are my private hours. In my private hours, I'm not available for nobody, and
here's it just flowing. It feels more natural.
And that's what I heard a lot of people, which also make them so insecure about connecting with people. And also, like, many residents aren't really like the party goers and bar goers, and they are more like the chillers or just want to hang out. So if they get like this snap off of a person, they get really insecure, and they really don't know how to handle it. And that's where Domus was just such an amazing chance for people to get to know other expats, but also some Dutchies around, like you and I, for example.
And I think also to talk about these things, because I can remember like a conversation I had with one of the residents, where she said, like, I was at my job and somebody came so rude to me, and he said this and this and this, and how should I respond to it? And then I think that's so nice that you can just discuss, like, okay, I recognize this, and I think this is really like Dutch communication style. Maybe he doesn't mean it that way, but it's like this. And I think it's so nice how you can help each other out, and give each other support as well, right?
Yes. Domus really is a safe place, actually, for many residents right now, and it's so amazing to see. It's very amazing to experience also. And
it really feels like that for me as well. And was there also like a particular moment that you realized, yes, I finally settled in, like this is where I should be?
Yes, and actually I said something else in our pre conversation, but like last year I fell and broke my knee. Some of the neighbors were just texting with me, and then I told them, like, oh, I'm in the hospital. I won't be home for a while. And out of nowhere, just many neighbors just came over. They helped me with getting my clothes to the hospital. If I needed anything, they just helped me with everything they could. And that was such a great feeling. And I stayed for a month in the hospital, and everybody took turns in visiting me and coming over. But at the end, I came home, and there were like 10, 12 neighbors just hanging out and waiting for me to get home. And that was such a great feeling to have.
I can imagine.
People there waiting for me, and that was just like, okay, this Domus, that's it. That's home, you know? That was just such an amazing feeling. And it's very personal. So I still can't say anything else about it. Then it's amazing. It's such an amazing feeling.
And it was also something you've never experienced before then, when you were living outside of a community building.
No, absolutely not. Like like there is a very obvious resemblance with the friends, family that visited me in the hospital, and the Domus friends that I visited me. Like for them was like, okay, one time, say, just check up, and I would just go on with my life. And it's very rough how I'm saying it right now, but in the end, it's really like that. Like there was no continuous communication with some people. Other than with the Domus people, the Domus neighbors. And that's such an amazing feeling. And coming home to it, it was amazing. And still ongoing, you know, like people keep on telling me, like, if there is anything, just anything, just call me, send me a WhatsApp, and I'll be there for you and I can help you with whatever.
Yeah, that's so great. Okay. But in a community or with people in general, there you also sometimes have like misunderstandings or conflicts. That's also something that's, you know, that will always be there because we're humans, we're people. That's what it is. Inside of Domus, you also like have all these different nationalities, cultures. How do you navigate potential conflicts or misunderstandings? Like, how do you cope with that?
Like, as the community manager, I just try to keep a good eye out on the whole situation. If something is visible and there's something that I feel that's a conflict, becoming a conflict. But the big part of it is just giving a lot of space for the community to solve it itself.
Okay. How does it work?
I truly, I really believe that a community doesn't have a leader. A community have everybody in the community is a leader.
Okay.
So the big part of it is like if the community, if there is a subject there that's happening, there will always be people around it to be like, oh no, I heard this, I heard that. I always try to let that be the way to solve it. In the end, if it doesn't happen, then there will be a moment that I will step in and be like, okay, what's really going on? And give everybody their space and maybe even take people out of the situation for a bit and talk the next day and let's see what happens then. So I really try to give it its natural way of fixing a conflict. And most of the time, at least for the conflicts that I experienced here, weren't cultural-wise, but were small misunderstandings. Like, why don't you bring your glass to there?
Okay.
I'm just saying something. But the real cultural conflicts, I haven't seen them. I've only seen people being very supporting to create an event for all cultures, like a cultural festival. Let's learn about each other's culture and those kind of stuff.
When I first moved here, I recognized in myself that I had a little bit of difficulties to know when I should be social, but also how to cope with being social when my headspace is not there. And sometimes, I'm still a little bit searching for the way to deal with like this social thing. Like, how is that for you, or how do you see that?
I totally agree. It's still in my opinion, there are no rules, but just also it's always like respect everybody's private space. That's the basic one, and that's also what I feel like that it is right now. Like. You meet in the public spaces. So we have like this living room, we have this cooking studio, we have this terrace upstairs, the garden, of course. So everybody is like, most of the time it feels like people just hang out over there and people just collect and we hang out of nowhere. Out of nowhere you have like 10 people hanging out and talking and discussing. But also like it feels like if people go home, you know, like, okay, that person is home, let's respect it. We can't push them now. And then we just try to connect over the WhatsApp group. and yeah, it's very intuitive, you know. Like it's not like I can't define it.
There are no
really.
practical rules, like you're not gonna disturb someone here, or you're not gonna. No.
No, it's all we all just know how to go through this, you know. Like,
Yeah.
for example, in the living room, you have the working space. Now, people know, like, if there are people working there, we just need to be respectful
Yeah.
to them, and just let them do their thing, and then we'll find another space to hang out. It's very natural. It's a very natural way.
Yeah.
And there are some rules, like clean your own dishes. Basic stuff, the normal stuff for that people just know, you know. It's not really complicated. It's a very natural way of being social.
True. And what I also really love about the whole community is that, like you said, I think that nobody is a leader in the community. That's also, as a resident, as well how I feel it. But what I also love is that everybody is so much involved with the activities, right?
Yes.
Because you organize a lot of activities.
Yes.
And everybody is just, you know, involved with, or not everybody, but if you want to, is involved with organizing events. Like how does that go? How?
We organized, like when we started here, we started with a thing called the event lunch or the event dinner. So that's an activity that we organize monthly, and where we invite every resident to come over for a lunch or dinner that I cook.
Yeah.
And while we eat together, we talk about what's going on in Domus. And basically there we just try to figure out what should we do in Domus. What are we missing? What are your hobbies? What would you like to do? And that's how we just find different kind of events to organize, and from there, I always try to take the person who brings the idea to take that person with me in organizing. But that's totally up to them. If they say like, "Oh, I don't have time, I have work and stuff," then I'm always like, "I don't want to pressure you. It's okay. I'll fix it as far as I can. I'll probably check in with you and." Just tell me what you miss or need, or so that's kind of how I work. Here.
Yeah, but that's good, right? Because then when you organize something, you are also sure that the residents like it.
Yeah.
Because you discussed it together, you planned this together. Yeah, that's really nice.
For example, we're doing an outdoor cinema on coming Thursday.
Yes.
That's like one of the residents came up with it, and he just came over to me like, "Oh, I want to do this. I have a beamer, I have a screen, I have a speaker. Just go for it." And he was like, "Can I do the poster?" Of course you can do the poster.
Yes.
And that's how you just go and just support and give space to people to create.
Yeah, that's so nice. Finally, the concept of home. Is this something you found in Domus?
Yes.
Why?
Like we just said, I came from a very traditional way of living, just saying, "Hi, hello, how are you doing today? Bye." That kind of living in big,
Holland, traditional in Holland.
Exactly, and it is. It's just such a big difference how just saying hi to your neighbor and just hanging out with your neighbor, all those small things give you so much more of a feeling of ownership of the building, from your apartment or your neighborhood. I just feel so comfy here, and I feel like nobody is judging me for things that I do. It's very easygoing, and that's why I really love this place so much.
Rajeb, I want to thank you for being our first guest in the Citizens of the World podcast.
Thank you.
And I really loved your story. You really gave me new insights also about the story of your parents, who were also immigrants and came to Holland at a time. yeah, that's a very nice story. And it's also very nice that you got all those insights from that perspective as well, you know, when you started living here.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank you for watching. And remember, we are all citizens of the world. See you next time. Bye. You can see that all those pets, all those experiences are really different and are so wonderful and valuable for all of us to hear. And I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into life at Domus and the incredible journeys of its residents. Until next time. And remember that no matter where we come from, we are all citizens of the world. Take care.